That was a weekend and a half, wasn't it? Round 2 of the Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup saw us head down to Oulton Park in Cheshire. I think that's where it is anyway. And another 2 races on the weekend. It was a Saturday for the racing instead of Sunday last time. And I was a little bit more confident heading into the weekend. We'd done a lot of work thanks to Trevor from Across Solutions and Andy at Glenfield Garage over in Cowdenbeath. Done all the tracking work, got the car set up in terms of suspension, handling wise, we were looking pretty sweet. The practice work that I'd done in terms of preparation for Oulton was on the sim, as before with Donington. The chance came up to get some practice on the morning of the race, and I jumped at it. It was only like 85 quid or something for 30 minutes practice. Ideal way to get used to the track. And for the most part, Oulton Park is identical to the sim that I've got on Assetto Corsa, the modded track. So I got out and oh my god, the curbs. The curbs are absolutely killer at Oulton Park. That's the one thing you don't get in the mods. So for the most part at Oulton, you can use a little bit of the curbing, and then about half a metre in, it just goes up at like 90 degrees. It's like going on a wall basically, and they're serrated as well. So the car, it feels horrible when you take the car too far across onto the curb, and you don't want to do it too much. So that was the things that I picked up on free practice in the morning. Then it was qualifying, and I suck at qualifying. I really do. Donington was fine because I just wanted to get in my 3 laps and just poodle about in the background and just make sure I didn't bin it. Qualifying, I was determined, I was going for it. Somehow I was slower in qualifying than I was in practice, which really didn't make me very, very happy at all. I'm already a considerable way off the pace at a track I've never raced at before. So to go slower in qualifying than I did in practice really, really set the cat amongst the pigeons on that one. Didn't really work out well. Qualified P32, couldn't find any space whatsoever. I need to learn how to get my elbows out and get myself into the space, because my little monkey brain doesn't figure out I'm not racing these other cars. So I'll give you an example. I'm consistently catching up to these 2 that are holding themselves up trying to do a qualifying lap, and I can't get past them. And you know, sanity would say back off, find a quiet bit of track and go and do it that way, but no, I've got to try and pass them. So yeah, abysmal qualifying session, and qualified P32 for the first race. Race number 1 got underway, and all hell kicked off at Cascades. I've never seen anything like it. I thought I knew what to expect with Donington. Everybody was prim and proper and relatively well behaved, and yeah, it all hit the fan quite spectacularly. We had at least 6 cars off at Cascades on the first lap, and God knows where one of the cars was going. He was off to just go home, I think. I made up several places, got up into the top 30 by this point, and just tried to settle down into a rhythm, taking places where I can. I feel like I was a little bit more aggressive than I was at Donington. I had to apologise to a couple of drivers immediately afterwards. I made contact with 2 other drivers, although in my defence, when looking back, for me it looks like a bit of a racing incident. There's one, my very first contact was with Steve Laidlaw, where I'm coming up to the final corner, and I'm feeling a little bit ballsy here. I'm feeling a little bit confident, yeah. And I just decide to move up, and it's not like I just like fire it into the corner. I just decide, right, I'm going to go and do that. And for me at the time, I thought I'd went too deep into the corner and clattered to the guy. But on looking about it actually looks like the other car hasn't seen me, or has seen me, or whatever, and has still tried to take that normal line in. And of course, I'm when I look at it, I'm actually there, so I'm actually alongside by the time they come in. So yeah, contacts made. That happened again down into Shell Oil hairpin with another car that I tried to make a move on. I was making so much time on Shell Oil's corner. Everybody wanted to try and go around the outside, and I just put it in, used the camber of the corner, and just kept my foot in. It was a really good corner. So made up a couple of places, really happy in race one. Had a little bit of a reaction, shall we say, to finally getting past the second car that I had contact with. I did a on the final corner, just popped it in again, and there was no way that he was getting that position back, and yeah, I was a bit excited. Cross line, P23, can't argue with that. Really happy. Another 9 places gained and a decent result out of race one. The end of race one, though, however, was the return of a welcome friend from Donington. That wonderful noise, and if you listen just in the background, you can hear it grinding away like it grinds against my heart.
Darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again.
That's right, the exhaust was a problem again at this meeting. We would then later find out exactly why, or a reason we think why the exhaust has been such an issue for us, but it detached itself again from the rubber hangers at the end of race one, 2 laps to go. And I kept pushing on because I wanted to finish the race. What I noticed after the race, though, was that because at Donington it had ripped our fuel guard off when the exhaust came down, it had now started melting into the fuel tank. Not enough for it to be a concern, but enough for me to go, well, if it happens again in race 2, then it's just immediate retiral. I cannot afford for that. For my safety and for Marshall's safety and everybody else around me, I cannot afford for that fuel tank to be punctured. And that's what happens. Race 2. I got 2 laps in, got a cracking start, was feeling racy. Started P23 in the grids, got a position up by the first lap. Was in amongst a group of 5 cars that would have seen me up into P18, and then that noise that just made my stomach sink, that my heart just absolutely dropped, that clatter and that grinds of the exhaust again, and that was it. You can hear my audible frustration at it. It was just so devastating, but I knew that was it. I had to pull it. There's nothing you can do, and if it was going to happen there, then it was going to happen again, even if I did reattach it onto the rubber hangers. And that's what is happening, is that the exhaust is just popping down from the little metal hook that's on the bottom of the car. So the exhaust and the rubber hanger comes off and just scrapes along the ground. So we'll need to do a little bit of repair work on the exhaust itself. We'll also need to completely replace the petrol tank and the fuel guard that's on there. Make sure that's in for next round at Donington in just a couple of weeks' time. Absolutely got an end to the second race. I was really upset, really disappointed, because the car felt amazing, and this is the one takeaway from the weekend, is that the car absolutely fell on rails. It was amazing, the work that Andy and Trevor had done when the car was over at Glenfield's Auto Centre was just amazing. It's a completely different kettle of fish. We still think that the car might be down on power a little bit. There's no way to test that until we get it onto a dyno. And realising that I've got a massive gap between some of the front runners. Now the front runners, you've got Nick Grindrod, who has done club racing for 20 plus years. The guy is just an insane talent. He can turn his hand to anything and be bloody amazing at it in no time at all. And it's awesome to have somebody like that in the championship, because a lot of people think, oh, it's the same person winning time and time again. Well, yeah, but that's because he is the current bar that you've got to beat, and he will eventually be beaten at some point. But it's up to all of us in the field to get our stuff together and catch him up. But in the meantime, my goal is I need to finish the 2 races, and I need to start finishing in the top 15, top 20. That's where I need to be just now. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do going up into Donington, which is going to be the most amazing race of the season. Donington, I think it's the 10th and 11th of July. We are supporting British GT, which is just epic. Absolutely epic stuff. So I hope the boys and girls at British GT don't get too jealous of our performance machinery. I mean, I know they get their own toys to play with, but I don't think they've ever seen anything like these performance, these bits of kit. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And again, thank you so much to everyone that's given their support and been on Facebook and been on all of the socials over the weekend. Sending kind messages and throwing us some good wishes as well. Oulton Park, a wonderful fast circuit. Really enjoyed it. Amazing weekends. This is motorsport. Quite often, more often than not, it doesn't go your way. You just have to grind and keep it going, and hopefully come back stronger at the next one. Donington will be a completely different kettle of fish. We know what the issue is now with the exhaust, we think. I was a bit of a twat when reassembling the car. Forgot to put spring bolts in it, and I just hard bolted it to the front where the manifold is from the engine. Hard bolted it into there and the end of the car. So basically, when you imagine if the manifold is here, it's supposed to get a little bit of flex here, but instead, because it's hard bolted in, what it's doing is sending that movement down about 4, 5, 6 feet to a pipe, which instead of doing this is now doing this, and it can't handle it, and all that force has to go somewhere. And unfortunately, that's what I think and the guys think is loosening that off from the hangers. Hopefully it's a good fix. Hopefully we'll be back and bouncing, ready to go. So there you go, that's Oulton Park out of the way. Round number 2. As always, a huge thank you to our sponsors, to Central Scotland Car Sales. Huge congratulations to Steve McGill as well, who took a cracking win at the Scottish Legends at the weekend there, one of our main sponsors. Huge thank you to Steve Turner at Turner Motorsport. Huge thank you to Trevor from Cost Solutions for helping us get the car down. Andy at Glenfield Auto Centre for coming down this weekend. It was great to have him along and doing all of the spanner work as well as Gail from Step 1, who did my social media as well. To the guys at Show Wraps, first time getting the car out, looking absolutely gorgeous in its new design. And to everybody else as well for supporting us along the way. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.